Welcome everybody to my part two of the Lighthouse Labs video on the various projects. So we'll be going over the Tableau project here. So what was the data set that I looked at? I looked at FA Wildfire Strikes 2015. It had a clean table of wildfire strikes from 2015 in the United States. Basically, you can visit this database, which contains records of wildlife strikes reported by airlines, airports, pilots, and other sources. The dataset is available here. I think there was a link to this on my PowerPoint. So the effect is the amount of damage, impact of flight, indicated damage, when is the phase of flight, time of day, and wildlife is the animal category, species ID, species order, species and species group. So what was the project flow structure? I connected to a source of data, added the dataset to Tableau, answered some questions about what features were important, dragged different features into rows and columns, made graphs, I added a legend, used show me tables and add filters, and finally made a dashboard. This is what the dashboard looked like. If you go on my GitHub, you will see that this is an interactive dashboard deployed on Tableau Public, and you can click on various categories to see these change in real time. So 4 different, pages were formed to make the overall dashboard. We can also see that there were various costs per state, with New York being the biggest, followed by Colorado and Florida. And the size of the boxes basically determined which state had the highest cost. Strikes per wildlife were also shown. Looks like bats, blackbirds, caracaras, falcons had high life strikes. The doves, gulls, terns, kites, hawks. Like you can basically see on the chart which wildlife had the highest number of strikes. There are a lot of aircrafts that are out of service based on certain dates. So the graphs would give you information about the year of collision, date, and time, the cost of the aircraft that's out of service, and the total cost to the state itself. What were challenges with this data set? Nothing was being created when having rows and columns. There was ABC values showing up in Tableau. So basically this is like a placeholder or empty values. I had a pie chart with way too many categories, so couldn't use it. At the beginning, I did not know what questions to answer. Also, understanding what features were important was pretty key as well. Future goals: if I had more time, more visualization, and answer different questions, check with the most recent wildfire data, try to make more predictions on wildfires that was going to happen, see which species started becoming endangered due to wildfire strikes. And I kind of did continue this project in a way because in my master's program, I did a wildlife project with team members, so we could combine these two possibly. This was my final Capstone project, which was the credit spending analysis in India based on gender. And we'll go over the intro, problem, importance, dataset, visualization, SQL, and results demo. So the question was, how can we understand different spending habits between different genders in India? And I wanted to present a dashboard of visualization that showcases this analysis. The different questions I was trying to answer were different types of cards used, which months have the most spend, who spends more between the genders, what is the spending on, which cities have the highest spend, why is it important? Spending habits can inform banks and financial service providers about what deals or offers to include at what time. It gives general insights on what people are buying and the supply and demand of a good or service. The data provided in the dataset helps in identifying venues for a credit card business expansion. This was the dataset I used. It was from Kaggle. It contained insights into credit card transactions made in India, offering a comprehensive look at the spending habits of Indians across the nation. These were some of the columns: the city in which the transaction took place, it's in string, the date, which is the date of the transaction, card type of credit card, also string, the expense type associated with the transaction, the gender, and the amount. These are some of the graphs I had. So we can see monthly mean expenditure trend for the different type of cards. The gender-wise count and total seems that females were spending more than males, and the different card types by genders. And it looks like they're kind of split evenly. And this just shows the monthly total spend over time. The dips might be periods where people aren't spending as much, or it could be like a seasonal thing. Maybe the spending went up during Christmas time, then decreased in the new year, and then kind of see like the different stages of consumerism here. I had some more graphs showing the different expense types, violin charts. The male spending patterns fairly distributed. The female spending pattern seems to be mostly on bills. Maybe we can find something in the literature to explain that data. I also just gave some information about box plots and violin plots, and then I showed the different tiers of population. So each of the different places were categorized into tiers based on their population, how many people were in a given region. So I have some SQL queries I did along with some more charts. Top 5 cities with the highest spending percentages. We can see Greater Mumbai, Bengaluru, Ahmedabad, Delhi, and Kolkata are there. and it has 14.1% of the total for Mumbai, and Bangalore also has 14%. So it looks like these were spending the most. Mumbai had the most spending. There's feature correlations with the amounts here listed. And we can see that city correlates most with the amount of spending and expense type is second. The highest total spend month and card type were shown. So it looks like Greater Mumbai had the high expense type for bills and lower expense type for entertainment. And you can see that bills keeps coming up. So most people are just paying their bills, and then some people are not eating out as much or getting groceries, maybe spending more on entertainment. And it basically had the amount of spending summarized in terms of graphs. We can also see the different card types in months with total spends. The platinum card has the most spent in August. Silver had it in August, and then gold was in October 2 times. It came up, and then silver was there. So what did I see from the results? There wasn't any specific trend observed in the monthly transaction account. The sum of transactions is nearly the same in all the credit types. Female spends more than males and has high value transactions. Under expense type in bills, and bills paid on credit cards are not as high as 900K. Females use the silver card type, whereas males use the platinum card types more. Females were more dependent on the credit cards. They spent more in this data set than men. Females and males mostly spend the same amount on bills and food, and females mostly spent in October and males spent in January using credit cards. And then Mumbai and Bengaluru had the highest spending. Most spending was on bills, food, and fuel. Greater Mumbai had 14% of the total spending of the data set, and January 2015 had the highest amount of spending. And then you can basically look at my Tableau on GitHub. And that's pretty much it for this presentation. Thanks for